My name is Amelia Carter, and I'm 40 years old. My family runs a family business, and it has been decided that a man will take over the business. But when it came to my generation, no sons were born. It would have been fine if there had been even one boy among my relatives. But with fewer kids being born, every family only had daughters. So my entire extended family came together.
Why not let a woman take over? In these days, it's not strange to have a female CEO.
And just like that, without considering my opinion, they decided I would become the CEO. Once that happened, I had no choice but to work hard for the sake of the employees. And marriage was out of the question as I threw myself into the jobs. However, by the time I turned 35, I started to regret living my life solely for work. The thought of ending my life alone was unbearable. So I ended up marrying a self-proclaimed artist I met through my friend.
Hey, I have a lover, you know? Love is essential for my art, you see?
That's what my husband, Ben, said to me in our 5th year of marriage. What are you talking about? I don't get it.
I mean, I have a lover for my art.
In this day and age, having a mistress for artistic inspiration is completely absurd.
Oh, and by the way, I'm going on a trip with her tomorrow.
So you're going on a cheating trip, right?
Yeah, you could call it that.
That's the only way to call it. While I'm working hard, you're going on a cheating trip?
I'm going for my art. They say artists need muses, right? And your husband's an artist. So you should understand that.
What a guy. You'll regret it if you go.
No way. You'll get to work without worrying about me, and I'll enjoy my trip with her without any issues. There's no room for regret.
He's so selfish. It's shocking.
Oh, and I'm taking your card. It's fine, right? It's a black card, so I can spend as much as I want. Thanks to you. We'll have a blast. We're staying in the top suite of the best hotel. Women love that kind of thing, you know? You can't have a great vacation without money.
He was packing his bags, completely unashamed. A lover, huh? I muttered that to myself while listening to him hum a tune. I already knew he had a girlfriend. This so-called artist husband traveled around taking photos, but in every photo, there was a beautiful woman. It was always the same woman during the trips, so it was obvious they were traveling together. When I asked him about her, he just smirked and said she was a model. There's no way a model who takes care of other needs would travel with him, so I knew she was his lover. Yet, he always looked so pleased with himself when showing me the photos.
I took some great shots on this trip too.
You've been taking so many pictures. Why not hold an exhibition? I even suggested that once, but he never did hold an exhibition. So I asked if he was at least selling them somewhere, and of course the answer was no.
My photos are for sale online, you know?
When I checked, he was selling them on an amateur site for 20 cents to a few dollars. But not one of his photos had ever sold. Well, that's no surprise. They were amateurish, and you can buy professional photos for about the same price these days. No one's going to willingly buy photos taken by an amateur, especially when they all had the same angle. So why did he marry me in the first place? It was such a mystery that I once asked him. The honeymoon phase was over in the first month of marriage.
Huh? Why did I marry you? Isn't it obvious? You're a CEO? I figured I'd be set for life with you.
There's no way I wouldn't regret marrying a guy like this. But even though it's just a piece of paper, it's a very heavy piece of paper, and now there's nothing I can do. I'd love to complain to my friend who introduced me to him, but I was the one who decided to marry him. In the end, I only have myself to blame for being fooled by Ben. so I can't really complain. On top of that, less than 6 months into our marriage, he was already running around with other women, barely coming home. I'm surprised I've put up with it for 5 years. In the end, I was just a convenient wallet for him. The thought of continuing to work hard for such a useless man makes me sigh. And now, this announcement of his cheating trip. It would be one thing if he tried to hide it, but he's so brazen about going on this trip. What does he think I am? Oh, right, a wallet. He probably thinks I'll forgive him for anything. He probably thinks I'll never complain, no matter what he does. I used to feel bad for not being able to do the things a wife is supposed to do because of how busy I was with work, but even that has its limits. I'm the one supporting him, so why should I have to put up with this? I've endured 5 years of this pathetic man. Why should I have to endure any longer? If I could, I'd kick him out right now. But if I'm going to do it, I want to make sure I get some justice. That's right. If I'm going to do it, I'll make sure to get my revenge. Ben was still happily preparing for his trip, stuffing the new underwear he just bought into his bag. I looked at him grinning at his underwear and couldn't help but laugh. I wonder if you'll even get to use that. With that thought, I called out to my overly excited husband. You might not be able to come back, you know?
Huh? Is the plane going to crash or something?
Well, you never know what could happen in this world.
Don't say creepy stuff like that. With how advanced things are today, there's no way anything like that's going to happen. How long do you think airplanes have been flying? There's no way the one I'm on would crash.
You can't be sure.
Jealous, huh? Don't you think that's pathetic? A woman your age getting jealous is just sad,
You think I'm jealous?
isn't it? You're saying you'll miss me, right? But hey, I've gone on plenty of trips before. This isn't my first. If I feel like it, I'll come back. Don't worry.
It's not like I want you to come back. So, what's your lover like?
Oh, you really want to know? She's super hot. She's got a model's body. Nothing like your middle-aged figure. Tall, curvy in all the right places. I'd buy her anything, really.
With my money, of course. How dare you say such a thing even though you don't work? Where did you meet her?
At a strip club I go to. The women there are always gorgeous, and they're fun to talk to. She's perfect for me. I told her I want her to model for me, and she asked where I'd take her. I said maybe Switzerland or Sweden, and she agreed. Hearing that, of course, I had to take her and photograph the hell out of her. Now I'll be a top photographer.
If having a model automatically made you top-notch, then anyone could be an elite photographer.
We're going to enjoy it like a honeymoon.
A honeymoon, huh? So you're sure you won't regret it?
Whoa, creepy. If you keep talking like that, I might never come back.
You mean you won't be able to come back?
If you want me to come back, don't complain, okay?
Oh, I'm really just worried about you.
There you go with that tone again. I'm about to leave for an amazing trip, and you just keep trying to ruin my mood. I was planning on coming back in a week, but maybe I'll stay too. Even if you cry because you're lonely, I'm not coming back.
You sure are full of yourself.
Of course. You married me because you were 35 and lonely. That means you can't stand being without me. Between the two of us, I'm the one who's got the upper hand. After all, I'm not lonely when you're not around.
Is that because you have your lover?
Exactly. Anyway, I'm all packed. Can't wait for tomorrow.
And just like that, Ben left for his trip the next day. After seeing him off, I quietly closed the door smiled to myself, and got to work on my plan. 3 days later, I got a call from him. "Oh, hey, are you enjoying your trip? Was it Switzerland or Sweden again?"
Yeah, I'm having a great time with my super hot girlfriend, but something weird is going on.
Weird. What could that be? I knew exactly what the weird thing was without even asking, and I grinned to myself.
For some reason, your card isn't working.
"Oh, really? My card, you say?"
Yeah, it's weird. It's a black card, so there shouldn't be any limit. Plus, it's your card, so there's no reason it wouldn't work. But no matter what I try to buy, it keeps getting declined. I thought maybe the magnetic strip was damaged, so I tried manually entering the number, but that didn't work either. Can you believe that?
"Oh, I believe it."
You do? So, I need to get it reissued or something? That's a pain. I won't be able to buy anything.
Even if it's reissued, it won't make a difference
Why not?
because the card's been canceled. I wanted to burst out laughing, but I managed to hold it in while still on the phone.
Why would you do something like that?
"Why? Did you really just ask why?"
Yeah, I did. You knew I was taking the black card on this trip, but you went and canceled it. How could you?
Oh, the nerve of you saying something like that when you were planning to use my card without permission.
I didn't have a choice.
Why should I let you use the money I earned for your cheating trip? Isn't that way worse?
I'm your husband.
Yeah, I don't really think of you as my husband anymore.
You'd be lost without me.
No, I wouldn't be lost at all. In fact, I think you're the one in trouble, aren't you?
Just make the card work.
Why?
Because without money, I can't pay for the hotel. I can't buy anything. And I can't get her the stuff she wants.
That's too bad.
It's not too bad. We came all this way. And now I can't buy her anything or take her out to a nice meal. She's going to be mad at me.
Not my problem.
Not your problem? Just turn the card back on.
So you really need the money, huh?
Of course I do. Without money, I can't even get back to the US.
I told you, didn't I? You might not be able to come back.
Wait, this is what you meant.
Exactly.
So, it wasn't about the plane crashing?
You just imagine that yourself. I never said anything about a crash.
Come on, please, let me use the card.
No. If you really need money, how about you get a job? You're a photographer, right? Sell your pictures. Or if that's too hard, maybe try working for a living. Sweat it out.
How am I supposed to work in a foreign country?
Lots of people do.
I'll work when I get back to the US.
Oh yeah, how?
I'll sell the photos I took here.
Come on, you've posted hundreds of pictures online, but has even one of them sold? No. And even if you did sell one, it'd be for a couple bucks, right? That's not called working.
Hey, I sold one recently.
Really? Someone must be crazy. So how many did you sell?
2 pictures.
Oh my God. I burst out laughing.
Hey, what's so funny?
That's what we call a hobby. You can't call that working. You really don't get it, do you?
Come on. I won't be able to get home without the card.
Aren't you staying? Fine by me if you don't come back.
Of course, I'm coming back. She's upset because she needs to get back to work too.
Then have her pay. She works at a strip club, right? I'm sure she's making plenty of money.
She'll hate me if I do that.
Well, yeah, she's only with you for the money. It's not like she's in love with your personality, now is it?
Whatever. Just let me use the card.
You don't get to demand that from me. Did you really think I didn't know about your cheating? I know this isn't your first time. I've put up with it long enough, and I'm done.
You knew all this time,
Of course I did.
and you just stayed quiet?
I felt guilty because I was always working and couldn't be the wife you probably wanted. But now I'm over it. Don't bother coming back. I'll divorce you, so go ahead and enjoy your honeymoon with her. And why not get married while you're at it?
Don't say that. I don't want a divorce.
Well, I do.
Please, I'm begging you. Let me use your card.
You're not getting the card. But don't worry, I'll make sure you get back home. Just not paying for anything but your flight. So if you don't come back soon, you'll starve.
That's so cruel. I came all this way.
And when you get back, you'll be my servant.
Your servant. What does that mean?
You'll find out when you get home. The next day, Ben came home looking completely exhausted. The cheerful face he had when he left was long gone. And watching him now, I couldn't help but enjoy every moment of it.
This is awful. How could you do this to me? You've ruined the trip. She said she wouldn't have come if she knew it would be like this. If our relationship falls apart, it's all your fault.
You won't stay with her anyway,
How do you know that?
because you won't have any money to spend from now on.
Why?
Because you're my servant now.
What do you mean? I'm your servant.
I told you, remember? The condition for me paying for your flight home was that you'd become my servant.
You were serious about that?
Of course.
There's no way I'm doing that.
Well, still feeling confident, I see.
Obviously. Why would I become my wife's servant? We're married.
Well then, let's get divorced, shall we?
Wait,
I don't mind divorcing you. If that's what you want, that is. Ben's face went pale as he looked at me. I grinned and pulled out a green piece of paper from the drawer. He knew exactly what it was. Hey, did you know this? I only found out after getting the divorce papers, but while the marriage form is brown, the divorce form is green. Isn't it so bright? It symbolizes progress and growth, apparently. So basically, divorce is a way to move forward, right? It's perfect. Move on from the painful past and start fresh. It sounds great, doesn't it?
you've got to be kidding.
Do I look like I'm joking? I wouldn't bring out divorce papers as a joke. I'm serious.
Are you sure? Your company is a major one. If the CEO gets divorced, what about public opinion?
That's such an outdated way of thinking. I'm not bothered by those old-fashioned views. I've put up with enough, and I don't need to endure it any longer if it affects my work. So a divorce wouldn't be a problem for me.
No way.
So what's it going to be? You'll have a tough time with the divorce, not me. Will you be my servant, or will you take the freedom of being poor and divorced?
Are you really planning to make me your servant?
That's right.
What exactly do you expect me to do?
Everything around the house, cooking too, of course. And if you make something bad, you'll redo it until it's right. You'll carry my bags, drive me around, and don't expect any respect for being the CEO's husband. Oh, and no allowance. You're not getting a penny, so be prepared for that.
If you don't give me any money, I can't buy anything. And how am I supposed to cook with no money?
Ever heard of online grocery delivery or Uber Eats? You don't need cash to get by.
This is insane. Without an allowance, I can't even buy a soda.
You've got water, don't you?
There's no way I can live like this.
Well, if you prefer to break our agreement and get divorced, go ahead. I told you I wouldn't mind.
Fine. I'll be your servant.
Ben finally agreed, hanging his head in defeat, but I couldn't care less. Great, now go make me some coffee. From then on, cleaning, laundry, shopping, cooking, and being my assistant all became my husband's duties. What on earth is this supposed to be?
A dinner?
You call this dinner? You expect me to eat this?
But I don't know how to cook. If you don't like it, you could just hire a housekeeper.
Do it again.
I can't.
If you follow the recipe online, you can. You just don't want to try.
Why am I even doing this?
Want a divorce?
I'll do it again.
Another day, he started complaining about not getting any days off.
You get time off, but I don't. Why can't I have a break?
Because you're a servant, obviously.
I deserve time off.
You think housewives get time off?
Well,
Every housewife in the world works without a day off. They handle all the household chores by themselves, work part-time jobs, and even take care of elderly parents. Compared to them, you don't have to do any caregiving or raising kids. You've got it easy.
but I want to hang out sometimes too.
You don't even have money.
I've been working so hard. Give me a salary.
Servants don't get paid. You're being naive.
This is insane.
You've got a place to sleep, food to eat, and a hot shower. Don't act like you deserve more. What more could you want? Or would you rather get a divorce? If you do, you'll be free. Every time Ben tried to argue, I'd wave the divorce papers in front of him, and he'd go silent. But after 3 months, it seemed like his patience had finally run out.
Why do I, your husband, have to be your servant?
Maybe because I paid for your flight home. Did you forget? You didn't work, didn't contribute to the household, and spend your time fooling around with other women. This is just what you deserve.
You keep threatening divorce every chance you get. But I'm the one you'll miss if I leave. You're the one who's going to suffer.
Oh, here we go again. Why do you always think that? I've told you over and over. I'm fine without you.
You said you married me because you were lonely. If you get divorced, you'll just be lonely again. You think you're tough, but you'd be lost without me. If you want me to stay, go back to the way things were.
Are you serious?
Of course.
Yeah, I used to think that being alone would be unbearable. I thought that as I got older, I'd be lonely with no one around.
See,
I thought marriage would be fun too.
exactly.
But you know what? Marriage turned out to be worse than I imagined. You didn't work, didn't help around the house, didn't contribute financially, and cheated whenever you felt like it. I'm better off without a guy like that. Thanks to you, I've learned that marriage is far from perfect. If being my servant is so awful, then sign the divorce papers and get out.
Fine. Divorce is better than staying here. I've got plenty of women waiting for me anyway,
Then sign it now.
and I'll take alimony.
You idiot. You're the one who cheated, so you'd have to pay me alimony. Not to mention, you used my card without my permission. I could take you to court if I wanted to, but I'm being nice and letting it slide. So, I'll be expecting alimony from you.
Why? You're rich.
That's irrelevant. You're the one who committed adultery.
Damn it. Rich people.
If you hadn't brought up alimony, I wouldn't have even bothered asking for it, but you're so dumb. Ben, frustrated but eager to be free, signed the divorce papers. Then he tried to take some valuables on his way out. You're not taking anything from this houses.
Why not? I'm entitled to half.
Everything here was bought before we got married. You didn't contribute to a single thing. The only stuff you can take is the junk you had before we got married.
Geez. Fine. Whatever.
Furious, Ben stuffed his belongings into his bag and stormed out of the houses. But a month later, he called me.
Where are you right now?
At home.
You're not at the place we used to live.
Yeah, I moved.
Why?
It was too big for me. I just downsized to a place that suits me better.
Tell me your new address.
I don't need to.
Please tell me.
Why?
I don't have anywhere to live.
Oh, that's rough. But that's not my problem. We're not married anymore, remember?
Don't say that.
You were the one who said you didn't want to be my servant. So what now?
Come on. Don't be like that. Every woman I go to won't take me seriously without money. And even when I stay with friends, after 3 days, they start looking at me like I've overstayed my welcome. I can't even afford to stay at a net cafe. And I've been sleeping in the park. Don't you feel sorry for me?
No, you chose this path, didn't you?
That's why I'm asking. Let me stay with you.
We're not related anymore.
We were married.
That was in the past. Now we're just strangers. Or do you want to be my servant again?
No, but I still want a place to stay.
You're too naive.
I'm going to starve to death.
Then get a job.
There's nowhere that'll hire me.
No, you just don't want to work. You were taking pictures, so why don't you sell them? You said you were an artist, right?
Yeah, but no one's buying them.
Well, we both knew that would happen, didn't we?
Then let me stay with you.
I told you to try harder.
I have been trying.
What kind of trying are we talking about?
Well, staying with my friends. Going to women's places.
That's not trying, you idiot. How stupid can you be?
But listen, those women only wanted me for my money.
Not your money. It is my money.
When I had money, they treated me like a king. But now that I'm broke, they won't even look at me.
You didn't see that coming?
Don't you think that's awful?
No, I just think you're an idiot.
Even you're saying that? I've been doing my best.
You've been putting effort in all the wrong places. Get a real job. You're just a clueless freeloader.
Let's start over. This time, I'll do things right.
As my servant?
No way. I don't want to be your servant anymore. No allowance. That's not even living like a human.
That's what life is like for housewives. So basically, you can't even manage being a house husband. Time to give up.
Don't say that. Come on. Where did you move to? You must be lonely living by yourself. I can be there for you.
If you were here, my stress levels would double. Since we broke up, my life has been stress-free. Thank you for our divorce.
This time, I'll really focus on you and only you.
No thanks. Ever since I moved, I don't feel lonely anymore.
What do you mean by that?
I realized I only felt lonely because the houses was too big. Now that I'm in a smaller place, I'm perfectly happy. I can focus on my work, and it's the best environment I could ask for.
If you're focused on work, wouldn't it be nice if I were around to make you coffee when you needed a break?
For coffee, I have a coffee machine, so there's no problem. It's perfect for a little break. And besides, I realized you were just a distraction. So I don't need you at all.
Come on, don't say that. I can be a great partner to you. You know, sometimes it takes a mistake to realize how to get things right.
Yeah, for you, my wallet was your great partner. But don't call me again. I'm relieved that we're finally done for good.
How can you be so heartless?
Oh, by the way, don't forget to pay the alimony.
I haven't received any bill for that.
Well, you're homeless, so of course you haven't. Consider this your official verbal request.
I'm broke. It's impossible.
Too bad. You made your bed, now lie in it. Ben called me heartless, but I laughed and hung up the phone. After that, he kept calling, but when I wouldn't answer, he showed up at my office. When I refused to meet him, he started sitting outside the office. That kind of nuisance could damage my company's reputation. So I threatened to call the police, and that scared him off. Once Ben realized I wouldn't help him, he finally decided to look for a job. But being homeless, he couldn't land one. So he came up with the idea to borrow money from a payday lender. He thought that once he rented an apartment and found a job, he'd be able to pay it back. It seems that was his assumption. But even with an apartment, it wasn't easy for someone with no real work history to find employment. Ben borrowed more money. Eventually, he got used to borrowing whenever he ran out without bothering to work. His debt piled up and the interest grew with it. Before long, he was in so much debt that he couldn't possibly pay it off. Unable to handle it, Ben abandoned his apartment and disappeared. I heard that his mailbox is now overflowing with letters from debt collectors. As for me, after moving, I live closer to my office, which has made work even more efficient. I also adopted the dog I've always wanted, and my life has never been happier. I'm truly enjoying the best and most fulfilling life I've ever had.